Hi everyone, my name is Gokul Pillai. I'm a BBA student studying at Universal Business School affiliated with Cardiff Metropolitan University. The topic I'll be covering today is industrialization and globalization and its influence on sustainable and ethical business practices. Now let us know more about industrialization and globalization. Industrialization. Industrialization is the process in which a country shifts its focus from agriculture to more of manufacturing. Where the country focus emphasizes on productivity and efficiency. Here, it is done using different capital-intensive techniques and implementation of more of machinery. Importance of industrialization. Some of the advantages of industrialization are economic growth, decreased cost of production, technological advancements, increased productivity, employment generation, and global competitiveness. However, it is also known to us that industrialization has come with certain drawbacks, which majorly includes child labor, the exploitation of natural resources, and the change of political landscape of our planet. Let us know more about globalization. Globalization refers to the exchange of goods, capital, resources, and technology across international borders and countries. Globalization has also led to a decreased trade barriers and have enabled several organizations and firms in the country to go global and multinational. Several countries promotes economic growth, greater access to essential resources for organizations, interconnectivity between people and countries. There are several advantages of globalization. Beginning with, it provides access to international markets, it brings in new technology and knowledge too. On the other hand, the disadvantages includes increased competition, environmental concerns, exploitation of resources and labor, endangers local vendors and businesses. Moving on to what is ethical and sustainable business practices. Ethical and sustainable business practices mean that all of the business activities are bound by law and all the ethical norms. This also means that any business actions that is made should always consider ethical, environmental, social, and human rights aspects. The history of industrialization. The fire of industrialization was lit in the early 18th century, which was generally associated with the European Industrial Revolution. Later, in the United States in 1929, the Great Depression was also coined as a common form of industrialization. Back in time, there were small clusters or villages in Europe, and people hardly traveled far distances. However, during the 18th century, the population of European countries had begun to rise drastically, and along with it, agricultural production grew exponentially, making it possible to meet the demand of the population. And this was an early sign of economic transformation. The conventional farming techniques had changed. Heavy machinery had replaced manual labor in farmlands, and people started traveling far distances. Rapid technological advances and the growth of factories led to urbanization. People left their agrarian lives and moved to cities to find jobs. In the later stage of industrialization, import and export started playing prominent roles in economic growth. Countries had started trading resources. For instance, Latin America and Africa followed an import strategy as they traded natural resources like gold, copper, ivories, slaves, etc. Whereas Europe and Asia adopted export-oriented strategies, which included the trading of food materials, tobacco, machinery, tea, etc. Now let us shed some more light and know how industrialization is influencing global climate change. Change can be referred to as continuous change in weather patterns, mainly due to anthropogenic activities. That is, environmental changes caused due to continuous human activities, majorly linked to industrialization. Major contributing elements to climate change are carbon dioxide, methane, hydrofluorocarbons, and sulfur dioxide in the environment. The greenhouse effect is a natural phenomenon. However, human activities after the industrialization era led to a tremendous increase in global warming and various other components like humidity, precipitation, and soil moisture. Further, the human activities like burning fossil fuels, that is combustion, release toxic emissions, particularly from factories and other machinery. Deforestation also contributes to the same, which includes emission of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. There are strict laws that are implemented by the environment protection agencies. However, still, several multinational corporations violate the law and does not abide by the sustainable and ethical business practices. Supply chains and logistics of many companies also contribute to the same. For instance, Amazon supply chain emitted 71.54 metric tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere in the year 2020. In addition to it, industrialization is a contributor to soil and water pollution, mainly due to business that let out untreated waste containing heavy metals, damaging soil, water, and habitats of various organisms. The two countries that I've chosen to compare sustainable and ethical business practices are Sweden and Switzerland. Beginning with Switzerland. Switzerland has always been the best in both national policies and sustainable practices, and it has been continuously achieving the UN Sustainable Goals. Swiss business practices are very stern, and they are excellence oriented or productivity oriented. They expect their employees to continuously give their best and work hard but at the same time they keep in mind about the environment and sustainable. They believe in inclusive growth. Sustainable business practices of Switzerland. Switzerland believes in not exploiting the natural resources. Hence, it generates 70% of its energy from renewable sources. Switzerland has one of the best waste management systems. It effortlessly segregates between the waste and also manage to generate sufficient amount of energy out of it. Switzerland also imports plastic in order to generate electricity out of it. Switzerland has the most advanced technology when it comes to wastewater treatment. It almost cleans around 90 million liters of water every day, and the end byproduct is biogas, which is again used as a form of energy in order to provide power to almost 300 million houses. Looking on to the ethical business practices of Switzerland. Switzerland is known to have a very strong financial system. Hence, the corruption rate is really low. Business code of conduct in Switzerland mainly contains anti-competition laws, corruption laws, bribery, and transfer of sensitive information and maintaining its confidentiality. Let's have a look at Sweden's sustainable business practice. Sustainable practice of Sweden. Firstly, carbon tax. Sweden being a country, it has levied huge taxes on carbon emissions since the year 1995. This is to bring down emissions from fossil fuels and other factors. Secondly, renewable energy. 52% of Sweden is using 52% of renewable energy and are not dependent on natural resources, as they promote inclusive growth. Lastly, humanitarian buildings. This is a new milestone in technological advancement. They have buildings and houses that are being constructed based on this technology. Swedish people claim that almost 25% of the energy is being saved by the help of this technology. Ethical business practices of Sweden. Mainly, there are three main policies. Firstly, the fairness policy, which ensures that there is only healthy competition between all the companies existing in Sweden's market. They believe that healthy competition brings in new ideas, innovation, and gives better options to the consumers in the market. Secondly, responsible marketing. It is said in the policy that all the marketing campaigns or advertisements held by the companies in Sweden are responsible and are held accountable for themselves. Thirdly, the supplier policies. This ensures that all the international and national suppliers of Sweden should meet the set standards of employment, labor rights, environmental rights, social rights. Lastly, the conclusion of the study. It is clearly evident that both globalization and industrialization have brought several benefits and have helped the economies grow exponentially. But it's also true that they have brought in several enormous negative impacts to the environment and have endangered several rare species. In addition to it, it is also a known fact that the world has now become a global village, making connectivity and networking much more easier for businesses. This enables businesses to go international. Hence, it is important for government to impose stricter laws and only promote those businesses that believe in sustainable development and inclusive growth. My recommendations of the science. Firstly, coming up with innovative ideas or technologies to tackle plastic waste management issues. For instance, using plastic-eating enzymes or bacteria that feed on certain type of plastics. Secondly, auditing workplace. That means ensuring and identifying deficiencies in supply chain in order to reduce carbon emissions and ecological